Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective. Happy Thursday. God, what is it with me this week? Happy Thursday. It is Friday Junior, Friday Eve, all the things, or for those of you, just Thursday or Thor's Day. Get it? Thor's Day. That's right, and I'm not making that up either. So, anyways, we're on lesson number 15 of 30. We're about to finish the first half of this, guys, peeps, kids, whatever. My peeps, my Aloha peeps. So yeah, let's get going with the affirmators deck to start off with, and then we'll jump right into today's lesson. Just for anybody watching early, there will be no Oracle Friday tomorrow. I will be on a plane to Colorado for a week in the mountains. Yay! But the Aloha Perspective will continue next week. Don't worry, there will not be a break in that. Just tomorrow, I'll be traveling. So, loyalty. It's the trees. Kind of like the Lord of the Rings trees, right? The Ents. Because they have faces and they probably talk, and a whole kumbaya moment going on over there. I'm there for the people I care about in whatever way they need me. Ride to the airport? No problem. Bail you out of jail? You bet. Go see your band again? Maybe. The point is, when I stand with them, I know I'm part of something special, and to be honest, it doesn't suck to look around and remembering they're standing with me too. So, I don't know. I have to say, I'm kind of digging the one with like the cool, looks like 80s glam rock hair, but it's basically what my hair looks like in the morning when it's long. But anyways, I think I'm going to read this one more time. I'm there for the people I care about in whatever way they need me. Ride to the airport? No problem. Bail you out of jail? You bet. Go see your band again? Maybe. The point is, when I stand with them, I know I'm part of something special. And to be honest, it doesn't suck to look around and remember they're standing with me too. Loyalty isn't just about friendships and relationships with family and everything. It is about being there for one another. It's about reminding yourself who is standing next to you, who has been with you through the ups and downs and all the craziness that you've gone through in your life. Last night, I usually sleep with my door closed, but I left it open so one of my kitties could come in and sleep with me, because I feel guilty about leaving the fur babies behind when I leave. But I was laying in bed and I was thinking, and I was kind of processing and going over all the kind of epiphanies I had yesterday during yesterday's perspective. And I just, siblings' room is right across the hallway from my own. So I just yelled to her and told her, I said, thank you for being in my life. Thank you for being there. It's like, I love you so much, because we may have been born only children, but we're two sisters who found each other, and we're soul sisters. And I just told her, I said, I am so grateful for all that you've done for me on this journey. And, of course, sibling does not take a compliment well. So she starts to say, well, la la la. And it's like, thank you. And it's like, no, just say you're welcome. I couldn't have been on the path I've been on for the last probably couple decades without her. And I say that because she recognized my dinged up mental health. And instead of stigmatizing me like a lot of other people that I turn to for support, because it wasn't, even just 10 years ago, mental health wasn't talked about the way it is now. I mean, we're still stigmatizing it, but when I was growing up, oh, forget about it. Don't even talk about it, because you're just going to be, if you don't have someone who understands it and they only hear or believe everything that they see on TV or in movies and all this other stuff, they're going to be like, no. Because to them, a dinged up mental health ends only one way, and that's death. Well, eventually we're all going to die. But what they don't understand is that it can be helped. It can be balanced when it is given the proper attention. When a person who's reaching out is given the grace and the compassion and the empathy they're looking for, because it's a confusing feeling, to feel so different from everybody else. My whole life I have felt different from people. You know, I've always felt awkward and strange and weird, and in my teens I embraced that because I realized I wasn't like everybody else. I mean, really, when you stop and think about it, no two people are alike. But even with my own friends, I was different. You know, I don't know if they had a dinged up mental health or not. I was just really good at doing the fake it till you make it because that's all I'd ever known. And I didn't have that support. And when I found sibling, good morning, baby sibling, and baby sibling too. She's been a pivotal part of my journey the last 8 years. But going back to older sibling, I just felt this need to thank her. You know, shouting out the doorway, like, you know, just from my bed and getting shouted. It was like a whole like weird old timey conversation where you're just shouting throughout the house, thanks, night John boy. But I mean, look, she's in a little bit of pain today because it's so humid. This is kind of what she's probably feeling like. But she brought me coffee, right? Because I was doing stuff this morning. I was cleaning up my house and doing stuff, and she's like, I'll bring you some coffee, because I didn't have time to go downstairs yet. So I feel really bad, but this is kind of what this is making me think of older sibling right now, because I feel like this is how she's feeling at the moment. But and then there's me, just I know I love Goofy. Goofy is my favorite Disney character. And you know what? Goofy really embodies the loyalty. I mean, this poor dog gets picked on like nobody's business, but there he is right next to Mickey, just being a good old loyal pal. So anyways, that's what I have to say about loyalty. Even when you think you're alone, like I've mentioned where I felt alone in my life, and you know, and there are a lot of people with a dinged up mental health that will feel alone in a crowded room. But one thing that's always kept me grounded and has always brought me back from the brink is knowing that I have people around me and that I'm not alone. I'm not truly, truly alone. My brain may try to convince me I'm alone, but I know I'm not alone. And that's sometimes what we have to remember. That's one of the things that can kind of bring us back from the brink. And, you know, so just as a side note, and I think I mentioned this before, I have to share this because it is one of my favoriteest. Disturb, I'm so sorry. Let me know if you can still hear me. Anyways, I'm using the pen from where I'm going to be. Go there every year. It's our sister trip because our aunt's birthday is during the week when we go, and she's going to be 90. Wow, I know, right? But I have to share a quick Goofy story because it's one of my favorites. I think it was the very first D23 that they ever had, the inaugural one. Oh, I have a visitor. Okay, never mind, she's leaving. Pixel. But I got to meet the voice of Goofy, well, the current voice of Goofy, Bill Farmer, and I think he could see. I get so tongue-tied because I mean, I know he's not actually Goofy. He's just the voice of Goofy. But I was just like, oh my God. I mean, I have loved Goofy since I was a kid or a late teenager. And it's just, and I have to tell, the reason I'm sharing this story is because, you know, a lot of times when, you know, you just never see the voice, right? Because it's always the cartoon. But he was so nice, and he actually started talking to me in Goofy's voice. He said my name in Goofy's voice, and it was just a very, very lovely moment. And it was funny. I don't know. It's funny too because I notice with British people I meet, they love to elongate. They like to use my whole name, Shelley Marie. But as Goofy used my whole name, Shelley Marie. So to Bill Farmer, cheers. Thank you. I appreciate you for making Goofy, really that lovable. So, and it was nice to see that the person behind the voice was just as kind, you know. And I'm not saying other people I've met haven't been. I'm just saying it for me. That was probably the coolest moment of my entire life because it was like Goofy. Seeing Goofy. But anyways, if Goofy were real, I'd marry him. I'm sorry. I don't know what's happening here. Anyways, come back to planet Earth, Shelley Marie. Lesson number 15 of 30. My sisters that are on right now are probably going, she has lost her mind. She's gone bonkers. All right. What are you afraid to ask for? What do you need to speak about? I think I need a reality check. I literally just told the world that I would marry Goofy if he were real. Tall, lanky, and just cute and sweet. What can I say? Everything you'd ask for in a dog or whatever he is. So anyways, I don't know. There's really nothing wrong with me. I think my endorphins are going because, like I said, I was doing some cleaning this morning, so all these exercise endorphins. I'll be honest with you, and no pun intended, but I literally am just Goofy. There's a level of silliness that usually just the people close to me get to see, but I'm trying to be a more open person. So anyways, what are you afraid to ask for? What do you need to speak about? You know what? This is interesting. I had a moment this morning with myself. Okay, so yesterday when we were in the perspective, I was talking about the floof, right? And my inner floof, which is my inner child. And I called it floof because it just sounds cuter than your inner child. It gives it more personality, in my opinion. Because most times when we refer to floofs, we're referring to, oh, I was going to show you, but she left. Pixel, my little kitty kitty. So, anyways, I think for me, it adds a bit of cuteness to it, because when you have trauma or when you and your inner child do not get along, it can be difficult to deal with. And I have to say, oh, hi, there you are. Would you like to see the world? Huh? I'm sorry, excuse me one moment. Come here. Come here. Come on. Pardon my butt. There she is. It's Pixel. Pixel Joy. So anyways, what are you afraid to ask for, and what do you need to speak about? Pixel is actually mildly disabled because she was torn apart by a coyote and kind of Frankensteined back together. So anyways, I guess she's part of the show now. So one of the things I like to do in my perspective is to talk about my own experiences to kind of help people prompt, the truth and honesty in their own answers. And for me, I every time I started cleaning this week, my back started hurting, my lower back. And first, it was because some serious spiritual cleansing needed to be done. And that was done. And then it went away, but then it kind of started up again every time I would start to do something. And it would just kind of sideline me. And then I finally realized that part of the problem is that, when you start to move in your life in any sort of direction, any sort of way, it opens the flow to things. And I realized that, okay, I'm so, see, cranky. All right, I love you too. Pixel. So, anyways, normally she's not like that. I think she was just uncomfortable because usually I have her on this side. And, or she doesn't like to be on camera. I'm not sure. Oh, now she's on my bed. Sorry, I'm so distracted. Anyways, I realized when I was going deep that I think, when I'm talking about yesterday's perspective, one of the things I was going to mention is that I talked about feeling like Jacob Marley, right, with the chains and coming into Scrooge and saying, all this stuff is going to happen, and it kind of feels like a mixture of the two, right? Like Jacob Marley comes in, he's wearing all these chains, he's obviously being held back and anchored by some guilt or whatever, or maybe he felt like he was anchored by Scrooge. I'm not really sure. Okay, it's been years since I read the story and years since I've seen the movie. So, but the chains felt like anchors. And for me, when you're going through stuff, whether it's spiritual or whether it's, just healing things, the trauma can feel, or whatever it is that's holding you back and giving you all this like emotional pain, can feel like chains. And I feel like this is what's happening to my inner child, my inner floof. That part of the reason I'm feeling these emotions and it's manifesting into a physical pain is the fear of change and letting go. And to get to the point of what are you afraid to ask for? What do you need to speak about? I guess I felt a little weird thinking that and feeling that way. So I was going to ask, I asked older sibling, and I was also going to ask baby sibling if she has time to talk today, later, to kind of give my inner child a pep talk. You know, baby sibling's a mom, older sibling is like an older sister and kind of a pseudo mom for me in a way after my own mother passed. And I feel like this inner floof just really needs that chitty chat to let them know it's going to be okay. Because me talking to me is not working. You know, we always try to give ourselves these pep talks and these other talks, right? And then someone comes along, says exactly the same thing we have just said to ourselves, but it means more coming from them. And maybe it's because it's more believable because we don't trust ourselves. We don't believe in ourselves. And I do struggle with that. I do struggle with that. You know, I struggle with, letting go of, kind of raking myself over the coals for, decisions I may have made or paths I may have taken or, choices that may not have been taken at the time that they were given. And I think part of the reason why we struggle to let go is because we're spending too much time looking backwards and beating ourselves up over what we didn't do. But as I mentioned yesterday, if you were still here, you were still breathing, then there's still time. Older sibling, and I don't know when she sent this to me, but I saw it this morning, sent me something she posted, and I think she knew I didn't see it, so she messengered it to me on Facebook, and I pulled it up because I thought, oh, this will be fun to read today, just as kind of just something to end on or to talk about. Turns out it kind of fits with what I'm talking about, and maybe it'll fit what you're feeling. What are you afraid to ask for? What do you need to speak about? I'm afraid to ask myself for grace, for empathy, for compassion. Because there's a part of me, I think, that still sits in there, that's still so broken and damaged, that doesn't feel like it deserves that. Or, actually, no, I take that back. I don't feel broken and damaged anymore. But my inner floof, I think it's so used to disappointment that this internal part of me just can't grasp the idea that happiness and joy can't exist out there, even in the storm. That loyalty card is perfect. We are going to, even if you're in the ocean of bliss, you are going to hit storms. You are going to run into storms. You're going to run into these times in your life where nothing makes sense, where everything seems so hard. And when you look around and you see who's present around you, it goes back to the loyalty card that we just had. Talking about even when you feel alone, look to your right, look to your left, look in front of you, look behind you. Your people are there. And they're waiting to catch you so you don't fall. And if they miss you and you do fall, they're there to help pick you back up. Even when we feel in our loneliest moments, that we are in our loneliest moments, when we have good people around us, we are not alone. And I know not everybody has that. And I count myself lucky to know that I do. That I have this good support system. And I do hope that I am able to be that same support system for other people. Because that's what we do. We take care of one another. We respect one another. We love one another. And, so, you know what? Before I go back to the question, to reiterate the question or to repeat the question, I'm going to read what older sibling sent me. So it says, I hope there are days when your coffee tastes like magic. My coffee, by the way, tastes like magic. Your playlist makes you dance. Strangers make you smile. And the night sky touches your soul. I hope there are days when you fall in love with being alive. I think that's the most important sentence in that whole thing. I hope there are days when you fall in love with being alive. If you are breathing, you have the opportunity to fall in love with being alive. Even if it feels hard, even if it feels scary, that's where change starts. You know, there are things that we go through in life that we don't understand, that make us question everything we've done in the past. I will step into my metaphysical zone right now. And the reason I'm doing that is because there are things that I think on a spiritual level that we recognize, that I think people who don't peek into that section of the world don't see. Sometimes they accomplish these things without realizing that they have terms for them. But in the spiritual beliefs, some of the choices I made may not have made sense to other people and may not have made sense to me at the time. But one of the things that's gotten me through all this trauma and all this healing and trying to find a better balance for my life and really kind of leaning into all these self-love lessons is the fact that I realized, and I was told, that I have broken several generational curses and several generational patterns. And you can put curses in any way you want, but when you really stop and think about it, they're generational patterns. Just this hamster wheel with that, immortal hamster that just hits everybody's lives until somebody says, I'm picking up the hamster wheel and I'm tossing you into another cage without one. I don't know. I don't have any other way to put that. But we have to be comfortable enough with ourselves to be able to say, what are you afraid to ask for? What do you need to speak about? You need to be able to ask yourself these questions. And if you're going to ask somebody else, and ask yourself why. Why are you afraid to ask for whatever it is you want to ask for? Why are you afraid to speak about what you need to speak about? Honesty and communication is the most important thing in any relationship, whether it's romantic, a business partnership, family relationships, parent-child relationships, any across the board. Any. Ask anyone I know. I'm a terrible liar. I either giggle or I panic. So, which leads to giggling, because that's how my mom was. When she panicked, she giggled. So, I have a whole range and shelves of different kind of giggles. All right, but I'm a terrible fucking liar, and I am not joking. I suck at it. I am not good at it at all. But one thing that people have told me, and including a Twitter friend who I've known for a few years but have never met in person because they live clear on the other side of the country or the continent in Canada, but they know that when I give them a compliment, they told me the other day, you are one of the only people I trust to tell me the truth, because I know that's how you are. And I feel like that shines through when we talk to people. I will always be honest. I do my best to not be brutally honest anymore, because there were times when I couldn't figure out how to say things and I was hurting, and so it would come out completely wrong, and that just opens up a whole new can of worms. But when I say brutally honest, what I'm saying is I will never give a compliment I don't mean. If I'm saying something nice to you, it's coming from my heart. It's coming from my soul. It's not just meant to make you feel good about yourself. That's the intention, right? But it's to let you know that I see you. And I think when we have honesty and communication, it makes it easier for us to ask questions we're afraid to ask. It makes it easier for us to speak about what we need to speak about. If it's something that's hard and painful, yeah, it might be hard and painful. You are going to go through those storms. But when you come through these storms and everybody is still intact, everybody, you might be a little disheveled and out of sorts and discombobulated, but if you're still supporting one another, it is probably going to be okay. I would take the risk and say it will be okay. No matter who you're weathering these storms with. Because that's what we do when we care about one another. That's what this card was all about. In fact, I'm going to read it one more time because I really feel like it goes with this talk today. The loyalty card. And again, this one's my favorite because I'm just digging that hair. But, leaves. I'm there for the people I care about in whatever way they need me. Ride to the airport? No problem. Yeah, I do that a lot and I never get asked for a ride. I never get anyone that asks me if I need a ride to the airport, but I am a good friend. I will give people a ride to the airport. So anyways, ride to the airport? No problem. Bail you out of jail? You bet. Haven't had to do that yet. Go see your band again? Maybe. Time permitting. My friends who are in bands are actually they're pretty awesome. So the point is, when I stand with them, I know I'm part of something special. Again, the point is, when I stand with them, I know I'm part of something special. And to be honest, it doesn't suck to look around and remember they're standing with me too. So even if you were that tree in the forest that feels alone, you're not. If a tree falls in the forest, does it make a sound? It does to its friends. It does to its friends. So, to everybody else, who knows? I think that's what we need to remember. And like I said, when we have honesty and communication, I think it makes it easier for us to ask, what are you afraid to ask for? And what do you need to speak about? And I've kind of shared my stuff. Sorry, I have cat fur all over me now. I've kind of shared my stuff because I feel like that's the one last thing holding me back, is this inner floof inside of me, this inner child that's been, damaged by various people throughout my life. And I used to think there was anger and just sadness, but I think it's the fear of disappointment, of being let down again, of, not being able to trust somebody. And the only way we can truly, truly move forward and truly heal ourselves is if we just trust our instincts and know that no matter what happens, good or bad, everything is going to be okay. Because again, if you wake up and, if you wake up, period, if you were still breathing, period, then today's a new day. Today's the day to make things however you want to make it right, to make it good, to make it great, to make it amazing. And to repeat that last line of the thing, of the meme older sibling sent me. I hope there are days when you fall in love with being alive. I hope every day you fall in love with being alive. Because it has to start with us. It has to start in here, in your heart, in your soul, and really in your mind. It's like I used to say in other perspectives a while ago, what you speak is what you hear, it's what your brain processes, and it's what you end up seeing. So if you're consistently speaking negative and unkind things, whether it's about you or somebody else or just life or the situations around you, that's what you're going to start seeing. But when you start to flip the narrative, when you start to look at things and say, okay, there are decisions I've made in my life. I was talking to my dad yesterday, and we were kind of sitting there thinking, well, it could have turned out this way or it could have turned out that way. And later when I was processing the situation, I was talking to an older sibling, one thing I realized is I wasn't as overly sensitive as I normally was, because a very innocent comment that, I just kind of like, yeah, okay. Just even 10 months ago, I would have been highly offended by it. It would have hit me because it would have made me think, wait, what are they trying to say? But I know me. And when I was talking to an older sibling about this particular situation, I thought, you know what? I know I made the right decision because that is not a road that I needed to go down. That is not a choice. It was a hard, very, very traumatic choice I had to make. And it broke my heart. And it's just mending now. But I realize that the choice I made, when I think about the people that were involved, was the right one. Even if it's painful, even if it still hurts, it was the right one for everybody. And that makes me feel better. And not so much about the choice, but it makes me feel better knowing that all these years later, I finally see that I wasn't just looking out for me and choosing stupidly or making choices based on how I felt about somebody else. I was making a choice because I knew years down the road it was the right thing to do. And so, I'm going to repeat this question one last time, and I really, really, really want to stress that when you start to answer these questions, that you ask why. Why is this question important to me? Every single one. Even the other day, take a selfie just as you are. Find one thing to love about it. Why? Because that may just be your surface answer. There may be something deeper that you need to talk about, that you need to get out of you. And, you know, one of the things that's the hardest about these perspectives is opening myself up to people, because it's not a comfortable place for me. But I know that if I share my story, it can help other people heal theirs. And I say that because other people were brave before me and shared their stories, and it helped me heal mine. That's right. Not future tense, present tense. Helped me heal mine. And now I am learning how to fall in love with being alive. And I want that for you too. Okay, so one last time, what are you afraid to ask for? What do you need to speak about? Be honest. Find someone that you know will listen and pay attention. And you know, if you don't want advice, just tell them, I just need somebody to listen to me. Because a lot of times I'll ask a question, and before anybody can answer, I'll literally be working it out right in front of them. Just having this one-sided conversation, but they're listening and just nodding and going, okay, and their ands are like them reeling in this epiphany, right? It's like I'm a fish that got hooked, and every single and that they give me is them just turning that rod and pulling me in and pulling me in and pulling me in, pulling all this crap out of me until it finally hits my head and go, whoa. Wow. And then I will literally sit there and go, you know what? Thank you so much. Thank you for your help. And they just look at me like, I didn't do anything. I just said, but they did. Because when we don't interrupt and we don't try to fix people, they actually learn how to heal themselves. But you can be there for them. If they ask for advice, give it to them. I now have learned how to say, may I add something, or may I share something that's on my mind? Or, you know, may I share something with you about this situation? And I give them the choice. Because, you know, later down the road, they may want to hear it. Or at the moment, they may not. That's their choice. All right. So I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you, all of you, for so much for watching. There will be no Aloha perspective tomorrow. I am so sorry. I will literally be on a plane during my show heading to Colorado. So I will be back Monday with lesson number 16 of self-love. 16 to 30. I know, we're going into the second half now. Next week's format goes back to normal. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday will be self-love lessons. Wednesday will be self-care Wednesday. And next Friday, I will do an oracle reading before I head down the mountain and head back home. So anyways, again, I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. I will see everybody back here Monday, 8:30 a.m. 8:30 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. I'm going to be an hour ahead, but I will do it so it's 8:30 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Facebook Live. Anybody can watch. It's public under Shelley Marie Lucas, or you can catch the replay on YouTube under the Aloha Perspective with Shelley Marie Lucas, or you can go to my Facebook page where I also share it to there, and that's under the Aloha Perspective. I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. I hope today you fall in love with being alive, or at least that you start that journey. All right. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, everybody.